time to get it on. You know what I mean? It's time.
Roy Jones Jr., a.k.a. Superman.
Looking over there at these 50 pounds, look like you can't win. That's what I want to go in the ring again.
These guys in 10-ounce gloves hitting you in the head is not what God intended your head to be used for.
One punch in this division changed the whole fight. I think it's a very competitive matchup, and it's a fascinating matchup.
It's anybody's match to win. You just don't know who's winning the fight.
Bear witness that this is going to be a great event, a hard road to glory.
WBA heavyweight champion John Ruiz.
I want to show Roy Jones what heavyweight's really all about.
Undisputed light heavyweight champion Roy Jones Jr.
I fight heavyweight champ one time. John Ruiz was available. That's who I'm fighting.
One will fight for honor. One will fight for history. In a hard road to glory, this is Countdown to Ruiz versus Jones for the heavyweight champ in the world. Now he wants to make history by becoming the first middleweight champion to win a heavyweight title in over 100 years.
I got an opportunity to win heavyweight championship of the world. I can't turn that down.
But first, Jones has to get past WBA title holder John Ruiz, the first Latino heavyweight champion ever. He wants to earn respect by defending his belt against the best.
But Roy Jones is trying to make history, but he's not going to make it off for me.
He's Superman Roy Jones taking on John Ruiz, the first Hispanic heavyweight champion in the world.
You have one of the greatest fighters of all time trying to do something that very few people in the history of boxing have ever been able to do. And you have John Ruiz, who is trying to prove that he has a legitimate claim to the heavyweight championship. So each guy has a tremendous amount to gain, each has a tremendous amount to lose. That's why it's such an intriguing fight.
When John Ruiz faces Roy Jones Jr. in the ring, he will weigh up to 45 pounds more and have a 7.5-inch reach advantage.
When he gets into the ring, Roy Jones is going to look so much smaller than John Ruiz that people are going to be shocked at the size difference between the two of them.
In terms of skill level, there's no comparison. Roy Jones is 10 times the fighter that John Ruiz could ever dream to be. But he's moving up to fight a guy who's going to outweigh him by 35, 40 pounds. And I think that's the equalizer.
If he wins, I think that John will get a lot of credit because of the type of fighter that Roy is.
If he beats Roy Jones Jr., I think that he establishes himself as one of the greatest heavyweights in the world.
And I don't think there's any disgrace in losing a decision to Roy Jones, who happens to be the best boxer in the game. I think Roy has a greater risk in this fight.
It's still a tremendous risk at 175 pounds. Maybe he's going to weigh 185, 190 at the most, to go in and fight a guy who weighs you by 40 or 50 pounds and has this tremendous reach advantage. And frankly, has knocked Evander Holyfield down, has knocked Kirk Johnson down. Something's going on. The heavyweights are getting hit and they're falling over.
I think the risk for Roy is the risk of being injured, a health risk. Taking a shot from the heavyweight, taking 2 shots from the heavyweight, 3 shots, whatever.
When you throw a punch as a light heavyweight, you're not going to hurt a heavyweight as easy as you would hurt a light heavyweight. So it makes it difficult.
So he's facing a new challenge, which is what you want to see great athletes do. Once they prove they can do something, can they do something else? He finally stepped up and said, hey, I want to do this.
I think also the reason they took the fight was because, he is probably a little bored of dominating at the light heavyweight division. He's looking for a challenge.
If he can beat John Ruiz, it really moves him up among the all-time great pound-for-pound fighters.
You got light heavyweight basically coming up to heavyweight, and it's not easy. Only a couple of people in history have ever done that.
Bob Fitzsimmons was a middleweight who challenged for the heavyweight title.
Faces off against John Ruiz. History is stacked against him. Only one former middleweight champion has ever claimed the heavyweight crown. Many legendary light heavyweight champions challenged for the heavyweight title, but only one was successful.
Roy Jones Jr. faces a mountain, literally. The mountain is not only John Ruiz, it's the size so difference. Roy Jones is basically a junior middleweight, now moving up to heavyweight. He's giving away size and weight.
Fitzsimmons, way back in the 1800s, early 1900s, he was a heavyweight champion, 5'7" or 8", 160 pounds.
Bob Fitzsimmons was a middleweight who challenged for the heavyweight title. He leaped all the way up. He weighed 167. He challenged James J. Corbett and in 14 rounds knocked out Corbett. Corbett, though, was only 182.
Well, of course weight means a lot, but it doesn't mean a lot. Things even up. Like, for instance, Billy Conn, well, he was a light heavyweight champion, but he was supposed to put on weight fighting Joe Louis. He really weighed in at about 168 pounds.
Billy Conn, for 12 rounds, beat Joe Louis. And now it's a light heavyweight's firepower at 169 against a heavyweight's firepower at 204. He traded punches with him, and at 2 minutes and 58 seconds of the 13th round, was dusting himself off as the loser. Louis had knocked him out. 13 times a light heavyweight champion has challenged for the heavyweight championship. It ain't a good record. It's 1-11 and 1 draw. The one is Michael Spinks.
Weight didn't mean anything then. It means a lot more now.
You must understand, heavyweights in those days, and even through the days of Marciano, were not 230, 40, and 50 as they are today. They were in the 180 to 210 at most class, usually under 200 as Marciano was.
Most light heavyweights want to fight the heavyweight champion. Most good light heavyweights, because that's where the money is. There was a time when a heavyweight champion was very big in this country. He was like a king, almost as popular as the President of the United States. That was the big crown.
The old adage is a good big man beats a good small man. Roy Jones Jr. is not so much fighting John Ruiz as he's fighting a weight differential. And therein, I think, will lie the answer to who wins this fight.
It's going to be shocking when you first get hit by that first big bomb.
Knows that defeating John Ruiz will secure his place in boxing history, becoming the first middleweight champion to win a heavyweight title since Fitzsimmons knocked out Corbett in 1897.
I guess somebody got tried, and 100 years, you know how long that is? That's a long time. That tells you how remarkable that must be to be done.
This is a huge challenge for Roy Jones because he's physically outmanned in a fight for the first time. He's facing a guy who's bigger, stronger, has a bigger reach, punches harder. So Roy Jones really has some tough odds to overcome.
Roy Jones coming up to his heavyweight division fighting a big, rugged guy. He's going to feel that power early.
So in the old days, we're talking about a difference of maybe 15 pounds from 175 to 190. Now we're talking about Roy Jones at 190 and John Ruiz at 220 or 230. We're talking about 40 pounds. That is a big difference.
The punching is totally different. That's why it's the heavyweight division and then every other division.
Can you really avoid Ruiz's punch the entire fight? I mean, the guy hurt Evander Holyfield. If he can hurt Evander Holyfield, he can hurt Roy Jones. There's no question about that. If he hits him just right, Jones is going to be hurt and probably gone.
When he was a middleweight, Roy Jones was a tremendous puncher. As a super middleweight, was a very good puncher. By the time he got to be light heavyweight, he could still overwhelm people with speed, his talent, and his intelligence. But he won fights by overwhelming his opponent.
I don't know if his punching power is going to really carry to the heavyweight division. I think that if he hit John with his best shot, I think Roy might be in for a rude awakening when he sees John look at him, smile, and not feel like anything hit him.
Roy has every ability in the world, boxing ability. I mean, the skill, the speed, the power. But to face a guy that is probably 30, 40 pounds bigger, very aggressive, it's going to be pretty hard to try to keep him off for 12 rounds and really get into a groove.
I believe that Roy Jones has the power to hurt a heavyweight because his power is a lot to do with speed and accuracy punching at the top of the punch.
If you hit your opponent with 3 or 4 punches at a time, combination, it hurts. So that's enough to keep your opponent off for a while. And Roy has that kind of ability to hit you at 3, 4, or 5 punches. This was the first fight he's ever been in where he could be winning every second of the fight and lose in an instant. He can go from being relaxed, everything running smoothly until he gets hit with that first big punch. And all of a sudden, he could, be very shocked by the punch and start running and holding and thinking to himself, man, I don't want to get hit like that. Next time I get like that, I'm getting knocked out. You have no idea what it feels like to get hit by a heavyweight wearing 10-ounce gloves until it happens. It's going to be shocking when you first get hit by that first big bomb. and make them think, you know, I'm in the heavyweight division now. Welcome to the heavyweight division.
We knew that if we ever were accomplish this goal, that we were going to do it ourselves.
Victory over Evander Holyfield, John the Quiet Man Ruiz became the first Hispanic heavyweight champion in history.
The moment I received this belt was a proud moment in my life. It was a dream come true. It was what I worked for so hard so many years.
Of Puerto Rican heritage, John Ruiz grew up in working-class Chelsea, Massachusetts, with dreams of one day becoming a boxing champion. As a lanky teenager, he walked into the Somerville Boxing Club and began working with his longtime trainer Dave LaMarca and manager Norman Stone.
It was a long road, a tough road, and you know, we didn't have anybody backing us up with money, and you know, we knew that if we ever were accomplish this goal, that we were going to do it ourselves.
John just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And in my mind, it was, this kid's going to do it. Then he won the New England titles, these titles, all these other titles. And people will still say, he can't fight, you know. And I walked in to John and I said, this kid's going to be the heavyweight champ.
Turning professional in 1992, Ruiz quickly attained a 25-2 record before suffering a devastating first-round, 19-second knockout punch from David Tua.
That was incredibly difficult for him to overcome because he was just written off as a stiff almost, which he wasn't. Anyone, especially in the heavyweights, he can get knocked out in an instant, and when it happens that quickly, it's almost meaningless.
Instead of crumbling from defeat, Ruiz strengthened his resolve and determination to earn a heavyweight title.
I would never change that day, because if it wasn't for that day, I wouldn't be, at this moment, a heavyweight champion of the world.
They got themselves together. They went the hard way. They took some small fights. They probably didn't make a whole lot of money.
Within 3 months of the Tua loss, Ruiz was back in the ring, winning decisive bouts. He won the next 11 fights, 10 by knockout, earning a shot at the world title against Evander Holyfield. Fighting toe-to-toe for 12 rounds, Ruiz lost a razor-thin decision. In a direct rematch that Don King dubbed the last word, Ruiz knew he could settle the score.
Big thing was, we're in the 10th round, and Johnny had a little lick over his head, and Gabe's going, we gotta wake him up, we gotta wake him up. It was like it was written in the Rocky movie. Come on, Johnny, it's the championship round.
You ever hear the saying, championship rounds?
Baby. And it was like, bango, he went up and knocked Holyfield down. My heart stopped. I couldn't believe this. Gabe jumped on my back, I jumped on his back, and it's like, we're here.
And the best thing was when the guy said he made history, the first Latino, I just slipped out. I said, oh, this kid.
In addition to becoming the first Hispanic heavyweight champion, Ruiz also became the second man in history to knock down Evander Holyfield. A third fight with Holyfield resulted in a disputed draw. Ruiz managed to retain his title and successfully defend it. But even with the world heavyweight title and an impressive record of knockout victories, John Ruiz is only now earning the respect of a world champion.
We call him Rodney Dangerfield because he doesn't get respect. He's going to get respect because he earns it the old-fashioned way. And this means fighting.
Yeah, he's been underestimated for many, many years. I think he's a lot better than some people want to give him credit for.
He's got a lot more respect for being a tough guy, because you just don't go into 3 fights with Evander Holyfield and come out the same.
In the upcoming fight against Roy Jones Jr., John Ruiz believes he will be able to showcase his talents and silence his critics.
I just want to prove to the dollars out there that, you know, I can fight and I can box and I'm an all-around fighter.
From humble beginnings to a world heavyweight champion, John Ruiz is a classic story of hard work, determination, and the will to win.
Very definitely American dream. It's the classic American dream. There was no other place in the world where this could have happened to a guy. Was he not connected with the people he was? Were they not fiercely loyal to each other? Never, ever would have happened.
I'm not going out there just to win for myself. It's win for all of us, you know what I mean? And they're your family. They're family. And I don't really call it a team. I mean, they're all family to me.
The people that don't meet Johnny Ruiz are people that are going to lose up on a great champion and a great human being. He's a great human being.
I need you to win. I don't care who will fight. I need you to win.
He's more powerful than a locomotive. He can leap buildings in a single bound. Is he a bird? Is he a plane? He's Superman Roy Jones.
He's a genius in the ring, really. I mean, the things that he does, they're not textbook. but there are things only Roy can do. He's sort of like a jazz musician, who he knows the fundamentals of music or boxing, but he can take it to his own level and put his own stick on it.
From my perspective, if you look at his career, he's shied away from anybody who's packing even a pebble of kryptonite.
He's been called Reluctant Roy because he hasn't wanted to take on some of the top fighters, but I don't think it's that he hasn't wanted to do that. He's so much better than all the fighters in his weight class. There's really nobody there for him to fight.
I think the fight that he had with James Toney was the first time he had a fight that created the excitement in him and brought out the best in him.
Everybody had him categorized as the underdog, and he got up for that fight, and that didn't bother him. He actually fought Tony. He gave him angles, he made him miss, he made him pay.
The next time is when he fought the rematch with Montana Griffith, who had won on disqualification over him and also had taken his championship.
Roy felt he was cheated in the first fight against Montel Griffin when he was disqualified. He really had a point to prove when he came out in the second fight, and it was scary almost how good he was in that rematch.
So in the second fight, I said I'm just going to pick up from where I left off at. And I wasn't going to get no fight this time. I got to finish the job because they didn't let me finish it last time. So I just went back out there and finished the job.
It was just this flash of fury, and then this flash of brilliance, and then the fight was over. And on that night, in that ring, I don't think anyone could have touched him. I don't even think John Ruiz could have touched him that night.
Winning is very important to me because that's what I do. I don't settle for second and say, well, that's good enough. And I don't feel like just because I'm fighting a heavyweight, I should not win. No, I need you to win. I don't care who I'm fighting. I need you to win.
If you look back at the last 7 or 8, 9 years of his career, how many rounds did you lose? And he's been that good.
You don't make the fight hard if it's not hard. And that's what I think people want to see. They want to see him go in and brawl with an individual. And he doesn't need to do it. He doesn't have to do it. He's not going to do it.
And I know people always say, well, people love a winner. They do it at that particular moment. But if you keep on and keep on and keep on winning, they start to not like you so well.
Finally, he understands that he needs to make a mark for himself, for his legacy and his career, and I don't think he's done that yet.
To be a great fighter, whether you like it or you don't like it, and Roy Jones doesn't like it, you need a great opponent.
Muhammad Ali needed Joe Frazier to define him, needed George Foreman to define him.
There's no Leonard without Hagler.
I don't know that beating a heavyweight like John Ruiz is going to place Roy Jones up there with the all-time greats, but at least it's a challenge. At least it's the unknown.
You need the guy who's a threat to you, and you need to beat him. And you need more than that to face the challenge.
A lot of people have been asking me about these guys. And they rough, they've been through their days. But you don't understand what they heard. See, they listen too. They heard heavyweight championship of the world. They say they don't give a damn. They ready. They don't care what they got to go through.
Roy Jones has accepted the biggest challenge of his life. John Ruiz has accepted Roy Jones's challenge. There is one more challenge yet to make this fight official.
I accept this fight as the biggest challenge of my career. In fact, it's probably the biggest challenge of my life. Not done. I need you to accept the challenge.
What you gonna do with the big shit?
It's got to come off. You got to get a haircut, baby. Huh? It's got to come off. How does that look? Only in America.
Only in America.
Don King, this is. Now he want me to put my life on the line. But he can't put his hair at stake. Come on, man. You want my life, your hair more valuable to you than my life is to me? Are you crazy? I mean, I'm asking. That's an overly fair challenge. Duncan does not have to cut his hair because for a fact I know I'm going out to win this fight and I want to do it in style.
So you'll take that. Well, people don't talk about that.
My life, your hair, come on, though. You can grow that back. I don't get another life.
Hey, Roy Jones, you rascal.
I was the Mohawk. You know what I'm saying?
But there's this saying, you can run but you can't hide.
Jones is a test of power versus speed. What can John Ruiz do to counteract Jones's speed? How can Roy Jones diminish Ruiz's power? What is each fighter doing to prepare for the fight?
I'm training John for this fight to fight his hardest the best he can fight.
We're hoping to lose some weight for the fight. You know, coming probably, I'm thinking about 225. And just to, you know, be a little quicker.
The strategy is going to be to make the guy miss and make him pay.
The weight ain't going to be affected this time. If I gain weight, it's still not going to be enough to compensate for what he has over me.
We have made John bigger, faster, stronger. He's a gladiator. He's ready to fight. So Roy Jones better bring his best game.
We're just going to be in tremendous condition. We're going to look down barrel, know when he's going to pull the trigger. When we make him miss, we're going to make him pay.
I don't care what Roy Jones does. Roy Jones has to adjust to Johnny. Johnny's the best fighter, in my opinion, in that ring. And so Jones has to adjust to him.
Roy got, you know, pretty good power, so going up to the heavyweight division and fighting these big guys, it's more like stinging instead of knockout power.
Roy hits just as hard or harder than most heavyweights out there because the people fail to realize is that speed is power.
Roy's got a lot of speed, you know, but there's this saying, you can run but you can't hide. And you still got 12 rounds and you have to make sure you're not getting hit.
We're not going to run from this guy. We're not going to run for him. It's not going to be a cat-mouse game.
Roy is not going to engage any time to try to knock, I don't think try to knock Olive down. I think he's going to try to win rounds and win a fight because he knows what he's up against in the big heavyweight.
This is my first time ever even being in a ring with a guy this much bigger than me. I'm looking at it as a great opportunity for me to actually show my boxing skill where, you know, definitely I got the longer reach, and beating John Ruiz is like nothing easy for me. It's really almost to a life and death situation because he punches so hard and he's so much bigger than me that if he could catch me right, who knows, he could hurt me.
Roy Jones Jr. step into the ring to make history. The legendary Caesar's Palace steps back into the fight game.
Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar!
This is the re-emergence of Caesar's Palace. We've been spending the last 2 years redeveloping the property.
I can't let you know how excited that Caesar's Palace is to be back in the ring. When you talk about boxing and Caesar's Palace, those two belong in the same sentence.
Boxing is part of our tradition, and Caesar's Palace, of course, particularly famous as the home of champions.
Can Roy Jones Jr. make history? Will John Ruiz legitimize his crown? Can the speed of lightning overcome the power of thunder? Or will it be one champion's will against the other?
Got a great fight. It's a dream fight. It's an American dream in living reality.
If you have to distill this fight down to its essence, it's all about Roy Jones, the best fighter in the world today, and John Ruiz, a heavyweight champion.
When we first posted the line on this fight, we did a lot of research and we decided that we thought Roy Jones should be the favorite in this fight.
I can't see how Roy Jones can win the fight. I think John Ruiz is just too big, too strong.
I think Roy has the speed and the dancing ability to stay away from John, and I think John will barely know that Roy's in the ring.
If Ruiz can cut off the ring effectively and figure out a way to hit Roy, you know, more than occasionally, it could be a close decision.
John can get in the corner and start holding him and doing some damage. John could really hurt Roy, but I don't think he'll ever get that close.
I just see Roy sort of staying away, being very cautious, using his superior skills to outfox John Ruiz.
In the end, I just think John Ruiz is going to be too big for Roy Jones. There's a reason why there's never been a middleweight champion since, I believe, 1897.
And I think that when it's over with, we're going to see Ruiz probably stop Roy Jones late in the fight.
This is what makes for an interesting fight, you know, to guess and for everybody to talk about who's going to win. So, you know, your guess is as good as mine, but it's difficult to move up and be the heavyweight, that true heavyweight.
Here we go with the showdown you've all been waiting for. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Las Vegas, it is time for the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing brown trunks, fighting out of his hometown of Pensacola, Florida. He weighed in at a ready 193 pounds. with a record of 47 wins, only 1 defeat. He has 38 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he attempts to join boxing's most elite as he challenges for the heavyweight crown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former middleweight world champion, the former super middleweight world champion, the current undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. Here is one of boxing's pound-for-pound superstars, introducing Ruiz. Jones Jr. And his opponent across the ring, ready to fight on my right, ladies and gentlemen. Out of the red corner, the defending world champion, wearing black trunks with white lettering, hailing from Chelsea, Massachusetts, and representing his homeland and heritage of Sabana Grande, Puerto Rico. His weight, 226 pounds, with a record of 38 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw. He has 27 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is boxing's first Latino heavyweight champion tonight, making the 3rd defense of his title. Please welcome the defending and determined WBA heavyweight champion of the world, introducing John, the Quiet Man, Ruiz. Once again, a referee in charge, Jay Nady, now to give instructions.
Do you have any questions? Okay. Obey my commands. Your trunks both look good. When I take a break, I want you to break. Step back. Let's go to work.
All right, we're set to go. Jones, 21-1 World Championship fight. The one World Championship fight that he lost was under disqualification when he hit Montel Griffith when he was down, and in his very next fight he knocked out Montel Griffith. So you might say this guy is an undefeated champion with a tall order tonight as he moves up to fight the heavyweight champion of the WBA, and Johnny Ruiz. Ruiz much pressure, much plenty of pressure on Roy Jones. I must say his body looks in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, it's in good shape.
Here we go, round number 1. Bob Sheridan with Lennox Lewis. Johnny Ruiz in the back front. We're sitting downstairs for Roy Jones. And right on top of him is Johnny Ruiz. Roy walks behind the referee, and I move to make sure he doesn't get in. Tries to get the left hand in the face of Johnny. Comes right through the jab. And that's a significant fact that Lennox early, even though Roy gets the jab out there, Johnny just is right through it.
Yeah, he's definitely going on the body attack. He's trying to go after the body right now because he realizes in the later round, he's going to slow Roy Jones down.
Well, John comes right in with his head down, kind of like the bull. This guy went to what I call, and you did too, the University of Holyfield, a guy that does a lot of things very tough and a very difficult guy to beat, and he survived it.
Definitely. Anytime he throws a punch, comes in with that head, ducks down low.
John throws a wide shot that catches Ruiz high, but it's obvious that Johnny Ruiz, who has said that he is going to keep pressure on Roy Jones, is doing exactly that in the early going. Roy does show his head speed early here, and it brings the crowd to life. Johnny waits now, tries to get out with that jab. He wants to land that jab in the face, and he does, doubling it, and then throws the right hand to the body. Jones comes back and the tied up again. This is just round 1 and scheduled for 12. Roy Jones Jr. facing you on the ground front with the Jones Jr. on him. That's Johnny Ruiz with his back to you. Jones waits, and so does Ruiz. They're right in the center of the ring. Jones loads up the right hand, catches Johnny, but it has no effect on him.
This round is just feeling each other out. It's cat and mouse game. Seeing what they can work, different combination punches.
So it's clear to me that there's a significant amount of power by the heavyweight Ruiz because, I mean, he just stepped up with what looked like a light left jab, but it put Jones back on his heels. But Roy does show significant and considerably more hand speed than, of course, Don Ruiz.
Definitely doesn't want to get hit.
We're going to get Ruiz at 7.5 inches in reach and at least 30 pounds in weight advantage here in this fight. too. So Lennox has a feeling out for the first round, but it's obvious that Ruiz is going to try and keep the pressure on Roy Jones throughout the course of this fight. Although he's waiting a lot too. Expecting Johnny after this. Jones up for the power. Back he goes to his heels. He goes up for the right hand of the goal. And Johnny wants to go part of it, and he bangs it with the left hook. Jones comes back and punches Ruiz with a right hand, but it had no effect. 12 seconds to go in the first round. Inside of 5 seconds to go in the first round. Johnny waiting, now he goes into the jab. Whoops up the right hand. Windmills past the ear of Ruiz. I think Ruiz won the first round.
Yeah, very close round, very close round.
The only thing I thought there was more power. That's the only difference in the feeling out round.
Oh yeah.
Take deep breath. Deep breath.
Alan Merkus to target
Give me
Roy.
some more feints. Give me some more feints. Move it straight back on a little bit. Circle out when you're moving out. Okay? Circle out. Don't move straight back.
Lennox.
Oh yeah. There's Johnny coming in with a body attack. He threw him with the right hand. It looked like it hurt him.
His Roy answered back.
Yeah, definitely. He answered back good.
But the significant thing there in those two replays, again, the power of the right hand of Ruiz looked like it took more of effect on Jones, and then what looked like a flush right hand to the side of the head of Ruiz, and Ruiz just gobbled it up.
Oh yeah. If Ruiz hits Roy Jones with a good punch, Roy will goes down.
All right, here we go. Round number 2, scheduled for 12. The WBA heavyweight champion is Johnny Ruiz. The magnificently talented Roy Jones Jr., the undisputed light heavyweight champion, trying to do what no light heavyweight has done since Michael Spinks, who admittedly beat an aged Larry Holmes when he won the title ever so closely too. A lot of people thought that Larry Holmes won that fight, but the first round sort of feeling out. We've seen the power of Johnny Ruiz in the first round. And he's waiting now, a little bit more than his corner wants to wait. Waits again, he wants to double and triple that jab. What he's trying to do, he's not waiting, he's trying to sucker Jones in and down him. Trying to time a right hand with Jones coming in. Jones is really slick and very smart in the ring, so I don't think he'd be fooled by those tactics. But that's what Jones is trying to do. It's not that he's waiting to get off. When he goes after him, he goes after him definitively with a left jab in the face 2 and 3 and 4 times. He's trying to trap Jones in. Jones is the guy who likes to set traps himself, Lennox, by waiting and looking for the opportunity to land with a big blow.
And that's what he's doing. He's basically waiting for Johnny to commit himself and then take advantage of it, especially with that left uppercut, because he knows he put his head down.
And that's the proper fight plan, too, for him, to try and catch him off. If John does put his head down, he gets unable to land his shot. But Roy has got to do something more if he's going to take these rounds. Waiting. It's a game of chess. A game of chess. Go ahead.
I'm looking at Roy Jones like a snake, he's ready to pounce, and Johnny's ready to pounce like a lamb. He's waiting for their opportunity.
Roy hanging that left hand down by his hook. Johnny comes in. Johnny needs to throw a right hand to get his attention. Roy feels like he's got the hand speed to counter him. Should he throw the right hand first and throw a pretty good right hand himself right back at John. But as we saw in the first round, the right hand didn't seem to have the power. This Roy trying to take the round now. Both guys need to do something to take this round in the last minute of the second round. Ruiz is not keeping the pressure on in the second round that he did in the first round.
It seems like they both want a counterpunch. Both waiting.
Roy opens up first and explodes, and Johnny just ties him up with about 32 seconds to go in the second round. Ruiz to the right of the screen. Gets that jab in the face of Roy Jones Jr. Roy throws him with an uppercut. And you see Ruiz wants to muscle him and throw him around. And referee Jane Eady right on top of that. 15 seconds to go in the second round. Not a pretty round. It's a chess match in the second round. And again, a very close second round. What do you give this one to?
I'd say it's even.
A nice stiff left jab right at the end. And just that, if that was the dead even round, might be enough to give it to the judges, because John Ruiz scored 2 stiff punches at the end of the round. And based on that, knowing that these judges namely Dwayne Ford, Jerry Robb, and Stanley Cazullo, won't score even rounds. So let's a minute.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Don't let him keep his feet still.
Watch the left hand here by Ruiz to the body. This time Roy misses 2 wild shots. No desperation by either guy, Lennox.
Not yet. I think Roy's waiting for the later rounds to really begin an attack. He's just trying to figure him out right now.
Gave Mack a whisper in the ear of Johnny Ruiz. Come on, Johnny, keep the pressure on him. We want to make this a pressure fight. Both guys off their stool, and here we go to round number 3. Bob Sheridan, Lennox Lewis, you're watching King Vision. We're proud to have all our ships at sea and our aircraft carriers and battle groups and the men on the ground in Kuwait and in the Persian Gulf and all over the world watching tonight. Courtesy of Don King. We're thrilled to have you and that you were able to see this fight. This is round 3. Jones opens up with the left hook, taken lightly on the gloves by John Ruiz. Ruiz is doing what he did before, and Ruiz is trying to set some sort of a trap, Lennox.
Seems like it. To me, they're both counter-punching. I think Roy Jones is really just taking his shot, waiting.
He is waiting, but, you know, on my scorecard, on very close rounds, both of them, by the way, I gave him to Ruiz just based on I thought he landed heavier blows. That one looked good for the crowd of far. Trying to come to the uppercut, John was able to smother it. Right in the center of the ring, I expected to see Ruiz try to force this guy back on the ropes so he wouldn't be able to move around. But John does a nice job making him miss. Part of the reason for that is the reach advantage, too. A little bit of quickness on by Ruiz, who considered by the American Network as the water. Roy Jones does spin a left to the face that time. Ruiz continues to wait. Bangs the body again inside. And Roy is feeling the pressure, but, I mean, his body is in magnificent physical condition. Throws his hand speed again with the left hook to the side of the head of Johnny. Then he throws hand speed upstairs. Ruiz continues to wait and doesn't force the pressure like we thought he would with 1:18 to go in the 3rd round. Jones hasn't opened up at all. He's just picking shots, trying to get that jab in the face of John Ruiz. Ruiz allowing the fight to be fought in the center of the ring, which sort of surprises me. Jones fading and seems to have more confidence now as he tries to get that left through. But there's a heavy shot to the body and right back with a counterpunch is Roy Jones to the face. And the hand speed's obviously in favor of Jones.
Yeah. Only takes one punch.
Ruiz really digs a hard shot to the body, which is kind of blocked a little bit by Jones, but he felt the power as he walks off more flat-footed this time with 30 seconds to go in the 3rd round. This is another one of these rounds, I tell you, Lennox, was very close. The uppercut scored that time. And it's scored by Roy Jones Jr. As Jones lands a couple shots down, I think he's ahead in this round. Now he's got to finish it strong. 20 seconds to go in the 3rd round. And Jones just outboxing him in this last minute of this round. That may be enough to get it for the light heavyweight champion of the world.
No, stop!
Yeah, I think this is definitely Roy Jones' round. He's doing a good job. He's definitely throwing punches that matter at the end.
And sort of dictating, too. And I agree with Lennox Lewis and give that round to Roy Jones Jr.
Okay, listen to me good. This kid ain't coming like he wants to now. I want you going and dealing, but I need the combination. So the singles and doubles now, let's catch him with the 3rd shot. Let's catch him with the 3rd shot. I want you to try to touch him to the body some, but get low and move out to your right. Okay? Get low.
All right, what's Ruiz charging the head down, Lennox? Get the jab thing going, and then he goes to the body. But that's pretty much all he did in the entire course of the fight. Here you are at the end of the round.
Yeah. What you have is a classic, when guys faster than you try and jab him right up against the ropes and then take advantage of the shots.
Are you surprised, Lennox, that he's not trying to force him to the ropes more?
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Actually, he's trying to box Roy Jones. A boxer against a boxer, and Roy Jones is a better boxer. A lot quicker.
He is, and if Johnny continues to do that, but of course their feeling is that, just drag him into the later rounds, they feel like they can wear him down. I don't want to give him, if I'm in the Ruiz's corner, I don't want to give the Jones any false confidence. This guy's confident enough as it is. He's a very confident fighter. He's never lost. He didn't know what it's like to lose. Ruiz has gone the distance more often, so we know he can go 12 rounds to be strong. John not forcing him to the ropes, and Roy just picking his shots. Roy pauses the time, his spine comes inside. Roy does a nice job when he comes in on him of getting the hands, the elbows to block the body shot.
Roy caught him with a good uppercut there, and then ended off to the right.
Right hand, caught him again. Noticeable hand speed, a big advantage for Jones. Ruiz needs to land a power shot to be taking these rounds, and he needs to land at least one or two every round, because otherwise it's kind of like Chris Bird fighting, the guy touch to get out of there, and that would be ideal if Jones continues to fight that way throughout the course of the fight, except that John DeForce.
Good move by Roy Jones, switching him out, staying out of the ropes.
He has tremendous athletic moves like that, and those are the things that he does so well as a boxer that, quite frankly, Johnny Ruiz doesn't do, but doesn't feel he has been doing this fight. But right now he's not winning the rounds. We're halfway through the fourth round, and Roy Jones Jr. is winning this fourth round. And then we get the first two rounds. Some judges may have given that to Roy Jones, and you get Jones up in front of this fight. Jones right now has the blood trickling from the nose of Johnny Ruiz. He's just out boxing this guy. Johnny not trying to smother the guy. Roy knows how to tie a guy up, and he can then John now realizes the blood is coming from his nose. Probably doesn't like that. Roy with a lightning left hand, but he's able to throw from his hip and get it back. So he seems really wide open for the right hand, but John hasn't been able to land a flush shot. Roy knows exactly how to time up, and he always tries to sneak up underneath the kind of the shoulder and get behind him and walk behind the referee when he comes out, so he protects him both ways.
There you go. He's got great skills. He's seasoned professional.
Yeah, he does things that are so subtle that you really got to concentrate on what he's doing to realize that, these aren't accidents. These things are happening so that he can take advantage of every little opportunity that he has in every round. 20 seconds to go in the fourth. In another round, Roy Jones Jr. is up boxing. Johnny, he got him. The pretty good shot. He knows he caught him. Johnny, actually, he buckled his knee.
Oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. Oh, he knows he has been hurt, too.
Yes, he does. He really caught him with a good shot, and he hurt Ruiz. And Ruiz is almost staggering back to his corner, and Jones stands and watches him.
Roy Jones says he'll be back.
Okay, give me the bottle. Water bottle. You're coming out, Johnny.
Watch this right hand. That hurt him.
Gotta get on him. Let's get it out. Get on him. Don't wait.
Oh, he just caught him flush with the right hand. And look at him, his legs go totally. He knows how to hang on. But that shows you that Jones can hurt him. And now Jones kind of hot-dogging it here.
This is a classic punch, catch a guy when he's coming in. He kind of helps you knock him out. Because he's coming in, the force is coming in with his right hand. They connect.
Well, we're going to the fifth round, and Jones really hurt Johnny Ruiz with that shot. Ruiz on his feet, and he must force this fight now. He's going to and he's the type of guy that can do it now. He realizes now time has been called. Let's see. The corner.
Too much Vaseline here.
Too much Vaseline on Roy Jones Jr. To wipe it off and being 80 his time back in. Now Jones, if he's going to do anything, he wants to keep the momentum going. So he wants to try to time another one of those right hands. Meanwhile, he's almost lulled Ruiz to sleep. Ruiz has got to put some pressure on him and land some shots of his own. He's got to open it up and try to hurt Roy Jones. But Jones will take advantage of him, as he did in that last round. Jones is supremely confident right now. He really knows that he can hurt this guy, and so far Johnny hasn't been able to hurt him at all. Back in the first round, he caught him with a fair shot, but Jones has been hit before, and he knows what it's like to be hit. And certainly in his training, he's been hit getting ready for this fight. this point, Roy Jones Jr.'s boxing skills have been better than Johnny Ruiz. And the only telling blow in the entire fight has been a strong right hand at the tail end of the fourth round by Jones that definitely hurt Ruiz and knocked him. Now Jones digs behind the right elbow. Now he's in the process of giving him kind of a boxing lesson. He smacks Ruiz with left hands that are getting through. Ruiz not able to keep the pressure on him. Jones able to keep him off with his jabs.
Right now, it just seems like Ruiz is just following Roy Jones around. That's what Roy Jones basically wants.
Working ideally. John has his head down. He comes in. Roy has the way of getting his clubs up on top of his head and smothering him his punches with his elbows. And things are going Roy Jones Jr.'s way right now. He's outboxing, and that's exactly, this is the type of fight that Jones would love to fight the entire 12 rounds. Sneaky uppercut inside, and he caught him with the left hand, and he kind of surprised Johnny Ruiz with some of his power. Ruiz tapped him with the right hand, and Roy just made fun of him, kind of mocking Ruiz. Roy, and what's going on in the out of here right now, but he's that kind of guy. He's so confident, Leonard. 36 seconds to go in the fifth round. And once again, Jones is beating Ruiz with a punch and outboxing him. Trying to set a trap, as Lennox said, for the catch again. Ruiz cutting in. Ruiz wags the head. Ruiz is not able to land anything flush. And he can't catch Jones. And Jones now is tipping it, kind of showing off for the crowd. Closing seconds down to the fifth round, and that's a Roy Jones Jr. round again as he attacks Johnny Ruiz. So I gave Ruiz very, very slightly the first 2 rounds, and Roy Jones 3, definitely 4, and again 5.
I want you to work the jab over time. Work your jab over time. Work it up and down. Work it up and down. Try to set up a big shot. You counter and do it. Keep the windshield wiper going, though. Keep that windshield wiper going, okay? All right? Let's drag it to it.
Hey, look, the right hand's going to come from here and fast. He sees it coming, he's short, and he's head when he sees it coming, throw a shot behind you.
Come on, Johnny, you got to get in the fight, man. You got to get in the fight.
He's starting to rope.
You see Jones is able to land shots here and getting just supremely confident as he's landing the shots and outboxing Johnny Ruiz. Now let's see if Ruiz can do anything to turn this around. You heard Norman Stone say in the corner, hey John, you got to get back in this fight. And Norman Stone is right. Roy is super confident right now and just outboxing this guy. Giving away some 33 pounds in weight, 7.5 inches in reach, and the reach hasn't showed at all in this fight. If anything, the jab of Jones Jr. is landing much more than John's able to land his. Sneaky right hand that Jones just rolls with a punch.
It doesn't seem like Johnny Ruiz wants to take a chance in there. He needs to go in there and take some chances and try and force this fight. If he has any hope of winning.
Just as he came in that time, Jones is backing off and able to tap him with a nice left hook as he came in. And with every time he does something like that, you can just see the confidence level rise in Roy Jones Jr. He's not exactly the type of guy that needs to have too much confidence. I mean, he's almost a very cocky guy.
Yeah. Let's remember, there's still a whole heap of rounds left.
Yeah, we're just in the 6th round. Sneaky right hand lead at that time by Jones. Johnny looks very sloppy, but that's the way he fights. He's an awkward sort of guy, always looks awkward, and he's getting outboxed right now by his superior athlete. And there's nobody that ever questioned the boxing ability or the athletic superiority of Roy Jones Jr. And so far, the power of John Ruiz hasn't landed. When it does, make no mistake about it, he can drop this guy. But he hasn't been able to land the flush punch thus far, and we're in the 6th round. And if it goes this way, Jones is just going to outbox him and win on a decision. Unless he catches him with another big right hand like he did back in that 4th round. Jones, even when he gets touched up, doesn't let Ruiz know that he's even been here. Jones waiting, trying to time it as he did in that 4th round. A minute to go now in the 6th round. And again, Ruiz has landed more in this round, but I don't know if he's done enough to win this round. Jones waits, tries to set the trap for him, and this is the way he fights. Superb boxing skills in the sneaky right hand lead. Bounces the head back, and then steps back and admires it. Has both his hands down now. And he's able to get his hands back up as Ruiz comes forward. He has no respect for the power, and he loads up a nice left hook of his own. Doesn't quite catch John Ruiz by that. John Ruiz's face a mess, but it's just blood from a nosebleed that started back in the 2nd round. Nice straight left hand that time got the attention of Roy Jones. And he backs off a bit now. I think he felt a little bit of the power, but he didn't show it much. He goes back on the ropes, and Johnny Ruiz, I don't know if he did enough to steal that round because, again, most of the ring generalship in that round was by Roy Jones Jr. How do you feel about that round? It's a pretty close round.
Yeah, that was a close round, but I think Roy pulled it out. You know, he didn't get a hit. He went in there and threw some good punches, used his speed.
Now I've got Jones out in front by a couple of rounds as we listen to Ferguson target Jones. Look at the confidence of Jones.
Give it here. Give me some deep breath, Sam.
One of the better left hooks by Roy Jones earlier in the round. You see, he catches it in just times, and then you were talking about that. And another combination hit by Roy. You talking about the timing and using the weight, catching John coming in. And Johnny gets a nice left, but almost in a freaky sort of position his hand was in, so he didn't really get the heaviness of the punch there.
And that's the only thing he's really hitting it with. Nothing else. He needs to hit him with that right hand if he really wants to win his fight.
Over halfway through the fight, and Roy Jones Jr., my scorecard, which is unofficial, is out in front by 2 points. Johnny Ruiz was hurt in the tail end of the 4th round by a vicious right hand thrown by Roy Jones Jr., and so far, Ruiz's power has not shown at all. Roy Jones has been able to gobble everything up. The left hook, wide with the right uppercut. And Jones has things going pretty much his way to this point. But as Lennox said, there's a lot of time to go yet. And a lot of the boxing people think that perhaps Jones would wear down in the later rounds, but he's in such superb condition. Unless he's hit by right hand, he's not going to wear down Lennox. I mean, he ain't going to wear this guy out. Look at the body out.
Even too many mistakes, no doubt.
And here's a guy that had to actually put weight on and build up to the 190-pound level that he weighed in about tonight. Actually, he weighed over 190. He got all the way up to 199 tonight earlier. Approaching 200, but still 30 pounds different. But that's not the fact in the fight. He's outboxing this guy and continues to outbox him. John gets a left jab through, but it doesn't hurt Jones. There's the right hand that he needs to throw. But you know, Southern Lennox, he doesn't seem to be enjoying headhunting with the right hand. He comes in, Jones is able to tie up his hands and he goes with the body.
That's good discipline.
All right, no. Thank you.
That time Jones can do what he's done before. Instead of walking around after getting hooked by the elbow, he came back out in front, which shows me more calmness. Holds that left hand down, throws the right hand behind it. He misses John. Ruiz standing right in front of him, continues to guard and wait. Jones huffing and popping a little bit, but he's certainly in total control. And this is what he does. He sets the trap again, and he nailed it with another right hand. And Jones is like at a Sunday tea party. Just smiles over them. Press roll. Looks over. Just tries to antagonize John Ruiz, and Ruiz continues to wait. And I don't understand this style at all for John Ruiz waiting. He gets counted with a low blow as he comes in. Ruiz continues to wait, and this is perfect for Roy Jones because Roy sets his trap. He's just waiting for him to come in. Jones swinging that left hand in front of Ruiz, but Ruiz continues to wait. Now he comes in, tries to throw a right hand, but again it's downstairs and upstairs. With 22 seconds to go in the 7th. It's Roy Jones Jr. waiting, letting the flurries when he has to, and outboxing John Ruiz. And his game plan was to try to outbox this guy. He made a serious mistake here, Lennox. Big right hand to throw again. John throws it a few shots, but he doesn't hurt Jones at all. And this is the bell ending the 7th round, and Jones is up box 7 in the 7th.
Seven down. All right, here we go. There we go.
Is Roy just beating him to the punch, Lennox? This is the way the fight has gone since the 3rd round on. Look at him with a sneaky right-hand lead. Johnny loves to roughhouse it on the inside, but he does not successful.
You gotta fucking do what you gotta do. This fucking Roy is doing everything, man. Come on.
Gotta go to the game plan. What's the problem? Come. Then you think you have to walk him down and throw down the punch and throw it on an ace. But to keep the hands up. Knock him down, Denver. Come on now.
Well, there's a definite concern, Lennox, in the corner of John Ruiz. They know he's losing the fight.
Oh yeah, he needs to get it going if he wants to be good in this fight. Roy's not easy to hit, I always said. You know, guys in his own weight class can hit him. Now the heavyweight, you know, he's just moving a step faster.
Here's John trying to dig to the body. Roy covers himself up. Johnny trying to keep pressure on him. He's working hard now. But Roy just has a way of just, defending himself so well. He comes off the rope right back, and now they exchange punches. And this Jones now wants to swap punches with John Ruiz. You look at Roy Jones, he didn't look like he was hurt at all in that exchange. Yet people said he never should stand in there and try to mix with him. But he picks his time, Lennox.
Definitely does.
I tell you this, he got Jones' attention because Jones is not hot-dogging it right now, and he has a more concerned look in his eye. But Johnny's going to get the pressure right now if he's going to do this. Roy is just a superb boxer. And his John back to his old style, waiting. Now Jones has got all his wind back. He feels strong again. Got that confident look, almost swaggering around in the ring. We're in the 8th round. Nice counterpunch that time by John Ruiz.
Just missed.
Johnny having his best round since the 2nd round of the fight, but he needs it badly because Roy Jones Jr. won 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on my scorecard, and if the judges are close to that, he's way out in front in this fight. Now Ruiz comes back, not able to catch him that time was Jones. Jones lightning fast to the left of the face of Johnny Ruiz. Now he waits, tries to set that trap again. But Ruiz, instead of smothering him, is waiting. And this is not the style if John Ruiz is going to win this fight. He's got to get on him like he did in the first few seconds of the round. Minute 9 seconds to go in the 8th round. Ruiz can win this round, but Jones can also win it. Jones back at his heels as he waits for John to come in, and John tries to get on him. And then it goes right back to what you said, Lennox. This guy is really tough to hit. As Jones and a couple more of those shots are going to take this round back from Johnny Ruiz. After Ruiz apparently was going to win this round, there's still 45 seconds to go. And Jones with another flurry and maybe another right hand can win this round and steal the round away from John Ruiz. Nice right hand and through and get Ruiz's attention. Boy, he shows lightning fast reflexes, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, very quick. Like I said, he reminds me of a kite. 1 second he's there, Johnny Ruiz throws the punch and it's gone.
Hey, Roy Jones Jr. really impressing me tonight, I'll tell you that. This is a terrific effort for a light heavyweight who at one time was a middleweight and super middleweight champ. Ruiz may have done enough to get this round as he keeps the pressure on in these last few seconds. Important that he impresses the judges to try and steal this round. I think he may have won that round. I don't know, Lennox. How do you see it?
I may have won it. It looks even to me.
Well, if he won any of the last 5 or 6 rounds, he won that one. I don't know if the judges are going to see it that way. But it was all in the first minute of the round, and then Roy went right back to boxing.
Yes.
You got to pick it up, you know. You hear me? Ninth round, baby. We got 3 more rounds. You got to go out there and fight, kid. Come on now, pick it up now. We're not a bullshit now. Come on.
As Johnny, tries to get the pressure on, but notice he never really gets him with a clean shot, only that one left hook really did any damage at all, and then Roy Jones Jr. comes right back. Look at him, he catches him with a nice uppercut, then they trade punches a little bit here. you know, you can feel John like, man, I can't wait to land the shot. You almost want to throw it for him.
Johnny wants to mix it up. He wants to get in there and fight. He wants to trade punches. He doesn't like this cat and mouse game.
No, he doesn't, but that's Roy Jones' expertise, and if he's get that for a fight plan, he's executed it to near perfection tonight. We're in the 9th round. I'm Bob Sheridan. With me is Lennox Lewis, the heavyweight champion of the world. With all due respect to the reigning champ, Johnny Ruiz, how much longer his reign is going to last will be told over the next few minutes. And Chris Bird, who may take exception to that, but Lennox Lewis universally known as the emperor of the heavyweight division. This is the 9th round. We're in Las Vegas. Roy Jones Jr. has outboxed John Ruiz through 8 rounds. Superbly confident, showing his speed, dictating the flow of the fight, landing shots when he wants to, able to block the power of John Ruiz for the most part. I've given John Ruiz 3 rounds in my scorecard, but every one of them I question whether the judges will give him those rounds. That's how well Roy Jones Jr. has boxed in this fight. Jones up on his toes, he circles around to the left, gets in position, tries to set the trap again, and John Ruiz is going for it. He just stays off instead of pressuring him with throwing right hand. He doesn't even have the left jab pumping in the face of Jones Jr. And when he does, it's down on his chest. He's just touching him. Johnny right now needs to land a big right hand. He better land it soon because Jones Jr. just beat him with a nice stiff tough jab to the face. Roy bounces off the rope, circles around to his right, totally dictating the flow of each and every round of the fight. Jones showing what a superbly conditioned athlete he is. And he has answered all questions in terms of his readiness for this fight. But the one great thing about the heavyweight division, and Lennox, you know this, it can come at any time like a bolt out of the blue.
That's true.
Just when you think everything's nice and quiet and nicely going your way, it can happen.
You know, right now it seems like Roy Jones is just baiting him right now. He throws the jab and he walks away. Sometimes he throws the jab and not even looking and hits Johnny Ruiz.
Even in the clinches, though, Roy seems to know how to tie up the power hand, the right hand. He's got his arm over the right hand of Ruiz, and Ruiz has to be satisfied with trying to play away with the left hand inside. Well, Jones is doing a nice job tying him up. See how quick he is. He's in there, chins down, gets out of there, gets himself back in position, and just beating Ruiz to the punch with the left in the face all the time. Nobody has been down, but John Ruiz was staggered back in the tail end of the 4th round. And the heavier blows, believe it or not, have been landed by Roy Jones Jr. as opposed to the heavyweight Johnny Ruiz. And this is just exactly the type of fight that Roy Jones wants it to go. Exactly this way. He's having everything in his way. And again, I think that he just dictated the flow of this round, and I think Roy Jones outboxed John Ruiz in the 9th round. (87-84) in my scorecard, giving Jones that last round with 3 rounds to go. Ruiz is getting to the point where he's got to knock him down and maybe knock him out if he's going to win this fight.
Put him together for me a little bit this round. You winning them with them swingers, but put them together for me. All right? All right. Ready to go.
Stop
pulling back. You hear me? Jab, step with the right hand.
Referee is completely wrong.
Completely. Come on now, pick it up. Come on, Johnny.
Make it a champion.
Make it a
I want
fight.
to get money in your fight. Come on, Johnny.
Make it a fight now. Make it a fight.
I heard Norman Stone said the referee's wrong. I didn't catch what that problem was at all.
I didn't catch that one either.
I don't know either, but whatever it is, it's a distraction because it has nothing to do with the referee. Johnny Ruiz has got to keep pressuring this guy, and this far through the fight, we're in the 10th round now, he hasn't been able to do it. He's got to do what great champions do if he's going to be the great champion tonight, and that's close out the show. Roy Jones Jr. off his toes, bouncing left, back to his right. Gets out with that left hand in the face of Ruiz. Ruiz seemingly wants to get it to him, but he continues to wait, trying to back him up against the rope. Jones continues to back up, waiting, trying to bait. Uses hand and feet. John bangs to the body again. Why doesn't he come up the stairs?
Doesn't have time to. That time Roy got warned by the referee for holding and hitting at the same time.
Well, he got him with a pretty good left hook that time, just enough to hold him up. All he has to do is touch this guy, and he gets him to stop in his tracks and holds him up just enough so he can feint to the right and then get out of there to the left and then touch him up every time. And all he's doing is out boxing. And what's happening is Roy Jones has got this guy in a boxing match. Now he tries to load up some shots inside, and he bangs Jones. Jones sitting on the ropes, and this is where Ruiz wants to fight this fight, right here. He'd love to keep Jones there. And there is a certain fatigue factor, and they said, at least the people you talk to, Lenny, she can tell me better than this. The smaller guy at this stage should be wilting a little bit from the pressure of heavy guys, but John Ruiz really hasn't put the pressure on him.
Hasn't come in with any sound shots to really slow him down. So, you know, you can still move at his normal pace. In fact, Johnny Ruiz has slowed down quite a lot.
Now he has, and you know, he really hasn't looked like himself from the get-go, and from the reaction of the corner. I mean, they send something wrong almost immediately by the second round of the fight that John's not executing whatever their fight plan was. It isn't this.
You know, styles make fight. This is a classic style matchup, and you know, Johnny Ruiz can't figure it out. Hasn't found the ticket to it yet. Hasn't found the lock to it. Hasn't found the key to it.
Roy Jones hits him on the hip and then smiles, and the crowd, of course, gets the reaction. And just that cocky look in the face. I'm fighting a guy like Jones. And the frustrating thing, you as a fighter know this, when you have one of those nights where things aren't going, well, you haven't had too many nights that haven't gone your way. When things aren't going your way at different times in a fight, it's very, very frustrating for a competitive fighter. Nice combination again by Roy Jones.
It's very draining as well. You know, all of a sudden, a guy hits you, you try and hit him and you miss and he smiles at you. It's very draining for you mentally.
Very draining mentally, and that's from Lennox Lewis, who should know. And right now, I can see the drain on John Ruiz, because Roy Jones Jr. is doing a terrific job by boxing here. Ruiz tries, and he continues to bang the body, tries to set him up to the head, but he doesn't throw a shot to the head. Now he comes in. Johnny seems like he really wants to pick the pace up, but he can't land that shot. Instead, he's outboxed by Roy Jones. I would say, even though John was more aggressive in that round, he still, I don't think he won the round. I don't know. How do you feel, Lenny?
You know, Roy didn't really do too much that round. He basically rested to me. You know, I think he's saving it for these 2 more rounds. That's 6 minutes in the mind of the boxer, so, you know.
So you'd go the other way and give that round actually to, in this particular case, you would give that round to John Ruiz?
Yeah, definitely, because Roy didn't really do too much. He looked like he just rested. I believe in this next couple rounds, Roy's going to get it started again.
So with 2 rounds to go, then if we go with Johnny Ruiz in that last round, like, I've got 3 points in favor for Roy Jones Jr., which means we need a knockout or at least knock down.
Yes.
All right, the comments of this man, he should know. Johnny really tried to get him on the ropes. He landed a glancing blow, but nothing really there. So with a couple of rounds to go, if you give that last, the 10th round to Ruiz, and Ruiz got the 8th round, then, you know, the fight is maybe within a couple of 3 points of each other. But, I mean, when you watch the fight, it's clearly a situation where Roy Jones Jr. has just outboxed this guy. And whether it's 1, 2, or 3 or 4 points one way or the other, Jones has just outboxed the guy. And therefore, I mean, after 10 rounds, you're going to say Jones wins the fight. But this is a 12-round championship fight, and Ruiz must try to pressure him. He's going to win and retain his heavyweight title. Otherwise, Jones is about to become one of the most famous men on the planet.
In fact, at this point, I think he needs to knock Roy Jones out.
I would certainly agree with that with the point differential I have on my scorecard. And doing it like this is going to work. But as you know, and we continue to tell our viewing audience, 1 punch in the heavyweight division can change the course in a hurry. But does John have that 1 punch in his arsenal? Because he hasn't been able to land a flush punch yet, really. Not a flush punch. The only really, really heavy flush punch during the course of the fight was landed by Roy Jones Jr. back in the 4th round when he staggered John Ruiz. And if nothing more, I mean, he got boxed Ruiz and he staggered him. He's the winner. Loads up the left hand, which catches him. Sneaky right hand. Just superbly outboxing him. Now he backs Ruiz back on his heels. I'll tell you this, he's really got to pick it up because Jones is making him look bad right now. And as you mentioned, this is a fatigue factor for the heavyweight, too, here. I mean, he's worked very hard with this guy, chasing him around the whole night. And it hasn't been a situation where he's just chased him around blindly all night. Jones has set traps for him. He waited. He showed patience. It's just a great skilled boxer.
Definitely deals with the sweet science of the sport.
Not particularly, a crowd-pleasing fight, but if you're a boxing aficionado, you got to love the skill of Roy Jones Jr., who's just really showing up a big heavyweight here.
Absolutely.
And John Ruiz in the process of losing the WBA heavyweight championship unless something very dramatic happens in the last 38 seconds of this round of the 3 minutes remaining in the fight. Is Jones doing what he's been doing throughout, digging to the body, coming upstairs, beating him to the punch throughout. Wow, with the left hand is Jones that time. Johnny trying to hunt him down. Gets him up against the ropes again. The lack of the ability to hurt him upstairs. Closing seconds of the 11th round. And now it will take a knockout for John Ruiz to win this fight. The only way he can win this fight now, Lennox, is by the knockout rule. I got a 106, 103, and that might be very conservative, giving a lot of breaks to John Ruiz. I would be surprised if the judges have it anywhere near as close as I have it. I've just looked for opportunities to give some rounds that were halfway decent for Ruiz to him. If there are any rounds given to him, there may be a 6-point differential in this scoring right here. But definitely, would you agree with me that the only way that Johnny Ruiz can win this fight is to knock him out now?
Absolutely. I mean, Johnny Ruiz definitely has to go in there, try and knock him out. This is the only way he's going to win this fight at this point. Roy Jones basically doesn't have to mix it up at this point. He can just dance around in the ring and win this fight.
Would you fight Roy Jones Jr. if the money were right?
If the money was right, definitely.
The words of Ludwig Lewis. The 12th and final round. All Roy Jones Jr. has to do is stay away from this guy and he'll get the decision. And that's what he's going to try to do. He has a great ability to be able to tie this guy up when he comes inside by grabbing him by the ears and holding his head up. And I'll tell you this, Ruiz can't afford to wait even 2 or 3 seconds. He's got to get on top of this guy and try to hurt him, something he hasn't been able to do throughout the course of the fight. And Johnny Ruiz is going to lose the title unless he catches him with a big right hand and catches him in a hurry. He's out of time. And the only way he can win is by the knockout. And Roy Jones just loves it. But like a day at the office for him, showing a total lack of respect for the heavyweight champion, whose reign is in the minutes now. That's 12th and final round of the fight. Well, I think it'll be pandemonium when this thing's over, so in case you sneak out of here or anything, I want to thank you for being with us, and you did a superb job again, and I hope we have the opportunity to work together again. But hang in here till we get the decision anyway. I got a couple questions I got to ask you about the future of the division.
That's no problem.
All right. Ruiz bangs him to the body. Time is a factor now, and for the WBA champ who's about to be the WBA former heavyweight champion of the world, time is ticking away. Less than a minute and a half to go in the fight, and Roy Jones Jr. has been confident throughout, up in the toes, smiling and taunting the WBA champ at times. And all he has to do is exactly what he's doing now. Step on the toes, stay away. He can even let John out of boxing in this as long as he doesn't get caught by a big shot. He's smiling, looking at the crowd, absolutely no concern and a total lack of respect for John Ruiz. And Ruiz has allowed him to do it.
I think Roy Jones realizes he's won this fight. He's going to probably do a little showboating right now in the last 60 seconds. I think he's still trying to catch John Ruiz coming in with that right hand. He would love to end it on that note.
Oh, he'd love to be able to time on and catch him and knock him down to make it definitive. It's definitive enough as far as I'm concerned. Just about a little over 30 seconds ago in the fight, Roy Jones Jr. has done what nobody since Michael Spinks has done, and what no former middleweight champion has done in over 100 years. and the crowd is beginning to stand on its feet for Roy Jones Jr. It's evident that Roy Jones Jr. has outboxed the heavyweight champion of the world, and Roy Jones is about to become the WBA heavyweight champion. He's done it. He's done it what no other middleweight champion has done, and now the fight's all over, and he knows it. I got a 116, 112, but I think the judge will have a lot more further apart than that. Lennox, just a couple of quick questions because everybody wants to talk to you here. Mike Tyson, will you fight him in June? Is that what you're trying to work on?
No, me and Mike Tyson, when we signed for the first fight, we signed for 2 fights straight away. But, you know, Mike Tyson said he doesn't want to fight me, but, you know, we're going to have to see what happens down the line.
You're negotiating, I know, with HBO this weekend. That's what Ross Petersburg told me. What are you negotiating for?
Well, we're going to see what happens. And
so you're not going to give me any information?
No definitive answer right now.
Well, I'll tell you this. You've avoided all my questions like Roy Jones avoided the heavy punch from John Ruiz today. Lennox, a great pleasure having you with me. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
I like to think that my friend is going to see the key.
All right. They want you to hang in here because they want to put us on camera for a second after the decision for one final comment. I think it's academic, but we'll wait. Again, I scored at 116, 112 in favor of Roy Jones Jr. There's no question in my mind that Roy Jones has won this fight.
Oh, yeah. He did a phenomenal job. Like I said, you know, he doesn't get hit. He's not going to get hit. Boxing the heavyweight is just too quick.
You know, when they talk about all the other guys, some of the heavyweights that Bob Foster was a tremendous puncher, was a light heavyweight. He wasn't the skilled boxer that Roy Jones Jr. is, and he was up against heavy punchers like Joe Frazier, who was a much better hanger and probably a better boxer than John Ruiz.
Yes.
Wait, where does Johnny Ruiz go now?
Rematch, probably a rematch, you know. Probably feels that he could beat Roy Jones the next fight.
Well, you know it's like you were surprised a couple of times by Oliver McCall and Team Rockman, and you certainly avenged both of those. But it must feel awful to lose the heavyweight championship of the world.
Nobody likes to lose. Everybody's going in there, they're feeling confident. They don't have losing on their mind. But when it happens, you know, it's always disappointing. And one thing you have to realize, you know, 2 boxers go in the ring. It has to be a loser.
That's it. That's it. All right, here's Shea Lennon.
And gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, the judges are in agreement. We have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Jerry Roth scores about 116 to 112. Dwayne Ford scores about 117 to 111. Judge Stanley Christodoulou sees about 118 to 110. All three in favor of the winner, joining boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
There he is, the brand new WBA heavyweight champion of the world. And now with me, Lennox Lewis, as we get ready to close out the show, it's anybody's guess as to what Roy Jones Jr. will do. He's got a contract now to go to China and teach the Chinese to fight.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm telling you, Roy Jones can beat a lot of heavyweights out there. So, you know, I'm sure if the money's right, you know, he's definitely going to go back in there against the heavyweight because this is his highest person in his whole life, in his whole career. So he's definitely going to go back in there and try and beat another heavyweight.
Well, one place he'll go before that is he's going to the bank on Monday morning with a check for $10 million, and that's a huge payday for this guy. It's the biggest one of his career, and he continues to celebrate, and he's just absolutely thrilled to be the new champion of the world. A tremendous victory and a tremendous job of outboxing this guy throughout the course of the evening. I got to say, I just can't say enough for him. You know, the judges had it similar to the way we did it, and we weren't surprised that a couple of the judges had it a little bit further apart than we did, but there was just no question that he totally outmaneuvered him, just totally outboxed him.
Yeah, he did. He, you know, did what Roy Jones is known to do. Went in there and basically did the sweet science, went in there, showed defense, showed quickness, showed movement. He was there, he wasn't there. You know, it gave Johnny Ruiz a nightmare in there.
Now, you said if the money was right, you'd fight this guy. And the money would be phenomenal, wouldn't it, if you fought Roy Jones Jr.? Oh, yeah. They'd say the same thing about you. A great big guy, doesn't move as well, and this guy can move around. As you take a look at the top 10 heavyweights in the world, we're going to take John Ruiz out of there and put Roy Jones Jr. in there now. But you're right there at number 1. Who do you see on there that you'd like to fight?
Right. I'll beat all of them.
You are a tough guy to get a lot of information out of. I know he's negotiating with HBO. I know that they're going to announce the fight soon. At least I hope so. I don't want to see you retire because you bring too much excitement to the ring. And this guy, you know, now they're going to start talking about some serious money for you to fight this guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, money always, you know, gets me to open my eyes and wake up and do some training.
Well, the immediate plans were to close out this tournament of Don King for Chris Bird to fight the winner of this fight, but Roy Jones Jr. may not want to fight him.
Well, we're going to have to see where Roy Jones Jr. wants to go. I don't think he wants to fight me at this point. I think there's a lot of heavyweights out there he can definitely beat. You know, Evander Holyfield he can beat. There's a lot of different heavyweights out there he can beat.
Well, that's true, and the question is how much punishment does he want when you go to the bank with that kind of money? How much, at his age, 33, you're a whole lot older than he is, and you still want to fight. How much more money do you guys want, or is it about the money, Lennox, this day?
You know, for me, it's competition. You know, it's a challenge, and for Roy Jones to move up to heavyweight, it was a big challenge for him, a challenge that he couldn't pass up, and he definitely took advantage of it, and look what happened. Heavyweight champion of the world now.
Boy, that's a tremendous. Roy Jones Jr., the WBA heavyweight champion of the world. Lennox, you won't tell me what the future is for you. Mike Tyson did say that he wasn't ready for you, but money could change that. Would you go along with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I got it to finish the answer out of this guy. Well, let me ask this question. I'll put it a different way. What would you like to see happen with the heavyweight division then? If you were in total control, what would you do?
I'd say a little box off, and then the best boxers shine, and then, you know, obviously I'd take a look at all the boxers and then decide from there.
Are you saying that you'd be in a box off? I mean, you don't need to be in a box off.
Oh, no. I'm saying everybody should have a box off. You know, box each other, and then all of a sudden, whoever the fans want them to fight.
Well, it's certainly interesting. A lot of people question where the heavyweight division is right now, but one thing that's happened with this fight tonight is that it certainly becomes more interesting.
Yes, definitely. It makes the heavyweight scene a lot more interesting.
With Roy Jones Jr. in there, a guy who was able to do what nobody has done since Bob Fitzsimmons did it in 1897. You know, was at ringside the last time a middleweight moved up to fight heavyweight? Wyatt Earp and Pat Masterson. That's how long it's been.
That's a long time.
All right, so we're going to let Lennox Lewis scoot out of here, and we're standing by for an interview with Roy Jones Jr. and Lennox. Again, I want to thank you for joining us. We had a great time with you tonight, and we appreciate you being with us. Okay, the comments of Lennox Lewis. Okay, so, I mean, it was the type of fight that you could tell from the beginning almost the frustration on the face of Johnny Ruiz. I thought Ruiz may have eked out the first couple of rounds, and indicative of the scoring, the judges saw that about the same way. Jerry Roth had it exactly the same way. I had it 116 to 112, but you heard me say in a couple of instances I may have been generous towards Johnny Ruiz for various reasons, and that I thought that his power did show a little bit, but when you see what we have to show you here, you just see the domination and the boxing skills of Roy Jones Jr. He was just superbly confident throughout the course of the fight. And in that fourth round, when he really cut John Ruiz with a powerful right hand and staggered him, and there it is right there when he really caught him and had it back on his heels, he hurt him. And from that point on, it was kind of academic because Roy Jones Jr. just had total confidence to the point that he was actually goading and baiting throughout the course of the fight. He was doing that constantly to Johnny Ruiz, and Ruiz had a look of frustration throughout the course of the fight. And it was a tremendous, what I would say, kind of a strategic fight for Roy Jones Jr. He dictated the pace, he dictated the flow, he drew Johnny Ruiz out of a brawl into a boxing match, and that played right into his hands, and he outpointed him convincingly. Stanley Cristodulo had the widest party at 118-110 in favor of Roy Jones Jr. And Stanley Cristodulo, certainly one of the finest referees and judges, and as the case is tonight in the world. I want to take the opportunity to say hello to Angelo Hyder of the Jeff Bennett camp and all the guys. I missed you last week, Jeff, when you weren't with Mike Tyson. I know you were watching the fight at the Central Coast League Club in Australia, and we look forward to seeing you at the next big fight. A terrific night of boxing here. We're standing by to get the comments as the American Network, HBO, will get an interview with the brand new WBA champion, and we're standing by for that. And as soon as we have it, just look at Zeb Judah right there, another tremendous fighter who you'll see in action soon again. We'll have the interview with the American commentator and Roy Jones Jr., who is a brand new WBA heavyweight champion of the world. And, it's going to be very interesting in the next few days to find out exactly what Jones is going to do with this title. Will he drop back and fight maybe as a cruiserweight, win the cruiserweight championship too? All right, Mark Goldberg, who has been working with me throughout the evening, is standing by, and here we go.
All right, thank you very much, Colonel. We're here with Roy Jones Jr. Roy, if no one had known that it was a light heavyweight versus a heavyweight, it looked like any one of your dozens and dozens of other fights tonight.
Yeah, because I'm Roy Jones, I'm always going to be Roy Jones no matter what. I said I wasn't going to change until somebody came up and changed me. So nobody changed me now, so I got to do what I got to do. I did what I do. I was Roy Jones. I told him I wasn't changing for nobody. I did pick up a little weight, but I wasn't changing my style for nobody.
There was, of course, the question when a big man fights a small man, it's always the power of the punch. When did you know that his punch wasn't going to hurt you tonight?
I never cared about his punch from the get-go, you know what I'm saying? I'm the kind of guy that when I come in the fight, I don't care about no punch. They've been telling you that story for years about, I'm concerned, I'm worried, I don't like to get hit. I don't give a damn about no punch. I can come out here to fight.
Well, you had control of this fight right from the beginning.
From the get-go, I'm the man. I run this. I got a singer from that call, who run this thing here? I run this.
What's next for you? I mean, this was a fight you controlled the whole night long. You're going to hang around and maybe pick another heavyweight off at one or two?
I got to go back and look at it. I did this to make history for the fans. This is what the fans want to see. It's a historical event, and that's what I want to do.
Lennox Lewis was sitting down there doing the color commentary for the international feed. Do you have anything to say to Lennox?
Lennox is a great heavyweight champion. I love Lennox to death. I've been knowing Lennox since 1988. We go back a long ways, and I think Lennox is really the best of the bigger heavyweights.
This was a challenge on both sides. For John, of course, to fight the great Roy Jones Jr., for you to go up and step up. What do you say to all of those people now that said he doesn't go after quality fights?
If I didn't go after quality fights, I wouldn't be the heavyweight champion of the world right now, would I?
Well, look, you're very comfortable now. You're leaning on me. It's great. Roy Jones Jr., the WBA heavyweight champion of the world. How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
All right, Roy, thank you very much.
Yeah.